for a new world. Presenting Ertiga, compact MPV for a new world.
That's the Ertiga from almost 12 years ago. One of the most popular MPVs that found success right from its launch and has been ruling the mass market segment ever since. But today is all about the Toyota Rumion.
Big time, big time, big time.
Big time. Try and take it from me. Take it from me.
Now, although the Rumion is based on the Ertiga, there are certain tweaks that you get on the front section of the car that sets it apart. For example, this larger grille. This reminds us of the Innova Crest, and that's actually not a bad thing. But what I would really like is some metallic treatment to the Toyota logo, because that would have really popped out and looked really nice. The next thing that has changed is the fog lamp housing. It gets black cladding and that looks really nice. But apart from that, the only other thing that is also new is the alloy wheels. The design for the alloy wheels is slightly different, and that also helps you identify this as the Toyota Rumion. While the front looks different, the rear resembles to the Ertiga. The interior of the Rumion is identical to the Ertiga, so much so that if you miss that Toyota badge on the steering wheel, you might feel like you're sitting inside an Ertiga. But you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. And Toyota didn't forget about the practical stuff either. But here's the kicker. It's missing out on some crucial features that you might find on the other cars as well. For example, wireless charging, ambient lighting, and of course, a sunroof. While it's all comfy and functional, it is not loaded with all the bells and whistles. One touch tumble on the second row helps access the third row quite easily. But surprisingly, it accommodates medium-sized adults comfortably. It's pretty quiet when you start it up. Not bad. But let's start driving. The Rumion gets a tried and tested but reliable 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol engine from the Ertiga. Nothing too fancy, but enough to get the job done. On the road, things are quite smooth and comfortable, but here's where it gets interesting. At startup, if you have the car loaded up, if all the seats are occupied, the pickup is slightly longer than it would usually take. But that's kind of okay, I can live with it. The other problem that I have is that once the car moves past the 3500 RPM mark, the engine noise gets louder, and that I can't live with. The ride quality is actually very supple. That suspension is nicely tuned for comfort. So whenever you go over undulations or even bad patches of road, you don't really feel that on the inside. But here's where I feel that Toyota could have done slightly better is with the body roll, because when you're doing corners, there's massive amount of body roll and there's a lot of lateral movement, especially for the second row. And don't even get me started on how the third row passengers will feel. Basically, the Rumion's all about that chill driving vibe without trying to be a speed demon. Now let's talk about the prices. Well, the Rumion starts at 10,44,000 rupees, which is obviously expensive than the Ertiga. Not just at the base variant, but also for the mid and the top, there's about 50 to 60,000 rupees price difference between the corresponding variants. Now, Toyota justifies this premium pricing for the longer duration on its warranty. For the Rumion, you get 3 years or 1 lakh kilometers, while Maruti offers the Ertiga with 2 years of 40,000 kilometers. With shorter waiting periods and faster delivery time, the Rumion is an ideal choice in the mass market MPV segment.